What exactly was Ryan Murphy trying to do with monsters? When speaking with Vanity Fair, Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan said that they instigated a Rashomon approach. For those who don't know, because I didn't, this is a term used to describe the phenomenon of multiple people providing different but plausible accounts of the same event. The article ends with this last line. It's a roller coaster of empathy and rage. I don't know who I believe right now anymore, and I still struggle with it. It's a not knowable story. No. What we know is that Lyle and Erik Menendez were abused by their father and their mother, which was proven in their first trial when 51 witnesses came out and spoke on behalf of the boys, saying they had witnessed abuse. This is Jose's family, by the way. What we know is that in most parasite cases, parasite is when a child unalives the parent, there's a history of abuse in the home. An example of a parasite case that has been given the appropriate level of sympathy, Ms. Gypsy Rose. Anytime her story is told, there is no question that her mother was abusive. Yes, they will get to the fact that she did unalive her mother, but there's no question about her experience growing up. So why is Ryan Murphy presenting the Menendez case as if the abuse is in question? So why are we relitigating their behavior after they unalived their parents? The media already painted them out to be spoiled brats who just wanted the inheritance. They're already serving a life sentence. I would have hoped that Ryan Murphy would have taken us on a different journey, get a perspective of why these people behaved like this, and not just fed into gossip and media coverage. Yes, it is a fact that Lyle spent a lot of money. But there's an interview Erik did from prison a couple years ago now where he's like, that's just what we were taught. We were taught to spend money when we feel bad. Our mom always gave us things. Our dad didn't teach us any responsibility. So yeah, that's what we did. And lying, hiding things, all of that is practiced behavior from having been abused by their father for years. So Ryan, what are we doing? And these homoerotic undertones throughout the entire show are so wrong because Lyle admits that when they were young, he also abused Erik because Jose had been doing it to him. So for Ryan to give it this consensual, incestuous dynamic, making it look like one big sexy home, is so fucked up. What's crazy to me is in that same Vanity Fair article that I already talked about, they actually say that we finally have a vernacular to think about and discuss sex abuse and mental health that did not exist at the time. So what happened? And he actually says that Monsters is going to launch a lot of discussions about male sexual abuse. More like how poorly you covered it and handled it. Yeah, that's what it's done. He even goes on to say that everything in here is true. Well, nowhere was it written or speculated that the brothers were in a consensual, incestuous relationship. We know enough by now to not include that, like, did that happen? So even though Ryan Murphy wants to claim that showing it from all angles was a choice, it should have never been presented as a question that these brothers were actually abused their whole lives by their father. In reality, the family members of Jose and Kitty support Lyle and Erik. They spoke on their behalf at the trial. Like Kitty's sisters support Lyle and Erik. They believe that there was abuse. So often in cases where an abusive situation ends in a homicide, you don't usually get a lot of witnesses that can attest to, yes, I did see abuse, because a lot of the time that happens behind closed doors. But they had 51 witnesses to speak on their behalf. Tennis coaches. There was an uncle that told a story of Lyle when he was 5 getting punched in the stomach by his dad. These guys have gone on to be kind of awesome. So Erik started a life care and hospice program for the older inmates, and Lyle is the president of the inmate government. If you are unfamiliar with the case, the Menendez murders, Erik Tells All, is pretty good. Erik is speaking from prison. I think this is from like 2017. Also, this one on Peacock goes into the Menudo member who says that Jose abused him. I know Monsters is a fictional show, but it is based on a true story. And for a lot of people, this was the first time they'd even really heard about this case. And this is how they get it presented to them. There's a whole movement on TikTok that's been happening for a few years about trying to get Lyle and Erik a new trial. I'm going to keep putting my efforts in towards that because I feel like they should be released. They've served 35 years, for crying out loud. Also, what we know is that a member of Menudo was essayed as a child by Jose Menendez.